Sure.
Here, I actually did it on Photoshop because I was struggling to do it in Illustrator.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Whichever program you're better at.
All right. It's pulling up.
Okay. So if you just hit the share screen button, oh, you're still pulling up Photoshop?
Yeah, it
Okay.
takes a while on my computer.
Okay. Well, let's see. Does anyone else have theirs already up so we can look at it?
I do.
Nick, why don't you go ahead and share screen and let's look at yours. Aha.
There we go.
Tell us about it.
I ended up going with my original idea that I wanted the TCH, and I call it Cha, and it's between the S and the T in the library, or the alphabet rather.
Alphabet. Okay.
And so my original design had an uppercase kind of C hooked into the uppercase design, but I decided to take it to kind of merging it with the side there, the T, and then just bring in the H a little. I'm seeing it after I submitted it that I kind of I have uneven extension on both ends of the top, but other than that, design working as intended, I guess. And then the lowercase, same thing, takes the lowercase c, blending in to the cross of the T, and then comes out like a lowercase h.
Great. Now, when you say when you said something was extended too far on the capital letter,
Yep.
What are you talking about?
The top part.
The top of the T's going across?
Can you see my mouse at all?
Yes.
Okay, right here. This is extended farther than this side, so it's uneven.
Okay. Oh, I see. I see. Extended to the left. I thought you meant extended
Yeah.
up. Extended to the left. Okay, I get it. Okay.
Yeah. This was my first time really like doing something in Adobe Illustrator. I just got Adobe this past week, so that was a fun challenge.
It is, and you can choose any program. I think it's important as a designer to eventually know the Photoshop, the Illustrator, the InDesign, the Adobe products, because that is what a lot of people use. But I have to say, of the three, Photoshop, InDesign, Illustrator, Illustrator is I think, most difficult to learn.
Okay.
I could be wrong. And one of the things, I mean, not wrong, but different people have different feelings on that. I am going to do a demonstration one way. Okay. I think that looking at this, one of the things that I think is really looking good is the lowercase letter is actually looking very organic.
I tried to keep in mind the strokes that would be needed to write the letter, so I like filled out a page in my Sketchpad of just how writing these letters naturally would feel.
Okay.
Yep. So I went with something that felt more fluid in their design.
And I would save that page because let's say if you put this in your portfolio, you might want to show that page of your hand lettering. Yeah. So this looks like a letter that could be written by hand pretty easily, and looks like a very organic addition to the alphabet. Okay, I like the decision. I think the decision to put the lowercase c in the uppercase letter was a good one because, as I remember the thumbnail, it created some bizarre spaces. The uppercase c did. Okay, class. So Noah, Belinda, or Daniel, comments on the new letter here?
You know what? I felt that, that big C in the beginning was actually like, I liked it, but I agreed with you in that it didn't look necessarily natural, but this feels very natural. And I absolutely agree with you. And it looks like something I could easily write down while I'm, writing down letters.
Okay. Belinda, any thoughts?
No, I agree with everybody. I really like it. It came out really nice, and you could actually see, trying to write it out and like quick hand, like taking notes and stuff.
It's good. Daniel, any thoughts?
No, not really. It's just it looks really organic from what you said. Like that was one of the very first things that I saw right off the bat. I was like, this really just looks like almost like a H that you would just do with a loop.
Yeah. Okay. So one other comment I thought about is, okay, on the assignment sheet, it says put the final letters on one page and the alphabet on another page. I believe combining them
sorry.
into one page is fine.
Okay.
Just fine. In fact, the actual examples show two different versions, but then the instructions are different. Either way is fine. Actually, having the title on the top is good. What font is this?
This is Times New Roman.
Times New Roman. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not bad to at the bottom put based on Times New Roman, but it's surely a
Sure.
mainly, although you could tell, you could figure that out pretty easily. Sometimes I think it's helpful if you have a font that's a little bit harder to identify. Okay. Looking good. Are you going to change? I see you were bugged by the T extending to the left. Are you going to change that or are you going to leave it?
Oh man. I mean, I'm satisfied with how this one turned out, but I'll definitely be more mindful going forward. Maybe I might edit it. I don't know if that might be in my own time thing.
It's your choice. I was going to say, if you have other things to do, do them first, and then you could go back and do this. This looks pretty good.
Thank you. All right.
The only thing that I would think, if you were going to change stuff, the only thing to change, and I can't decide if I want to or not, is if you look at the intersection of the capital T and the C, you can see that the C sort of goes down a little bit, and in the lowercase letter, the C goes straight across, but because you combined it with the crossbar of the T. So I can't decide if I want to add that little dip in there or not. I'm now that I say it, I'm thinking not. But
to make it fluid, I was almost debating on maybe straightening the top of the C out and not. It's based on Times New Roman, so I wanted to keep those very like parallel lines or intersecting lines there. But I was debating on whether or not to have the C either straighten out like that across at this level, which I struggled to because I was keeping the letters their original height, or have it come down at an angle across fluidly and not have this cross piece here.
I think I like the lowercase so much. Those changes in the uppercase are worth exploring sometimes. Again, not right now, but if you have some time, sometime. So just to talk about portfolio a little bit, usually this project does not make it into people's portfolio. I'd say 90% of the time, but sometimes it does. So that would be the type of thing. If you get to portfolio class, your teacher says, "Wow, I like this letter," then maybe consider those changes.
Sounds good.
Okay. If you would let release control of your computer. Who else is ready?
I have mine pulled up. If
You've got Noah, go ahead and take control of the computer and show it to us.
all right, you can see it.
I believe we will in seconds. Yep, there it is.
All right.
Okay.
So I wasn't as far along as Nick was. I was just being a little bit more reserved, trying to make sure that it was presentable. But I went through several different versions of this, trying to make it look the most Times New Roman, but also the most unique but simple way. Because it's like I had different versions here. If I scroll down, you can see this one on the right. It's like, sure, it looks kind of nice and unique, but as I was trying to write it out like organically, normally it was very difficult, and it wasn't something natural. So I ended up just ending with this one, and I made sure that my lowercase, the descender, correctly lined up with that descender line, and made sure that everything lined up.
Oh, great. In fact, I didn't mention that with Nick's, but having the lines, the guidelines like that are fantastic. Great. Okay. So where in the alphabet would this go, do you think?
Oh, this was going to be, so this is a mixture between Y and Z. So I was going to put between the Y and Z. Yeah.
Okay, so what do other people think of the letter? Belinda, what do you think?
I like it. I mean, it looks very fluid. You could write it easily. And I like it.
Okay. Daniel, any thoughts?
No, it's also another one of those letters that you could write easily. Um, at first I couldn't really tell on the lowercase one what the bottom half was, what it was, but really just looking at the uppercase one, it's much easier to figure out. But regardless, it's still really good.
Yep. Nick, any thoughts?
Yeah, I like the final design choice. The simplicity allows the fluid movement. You know, it feels like a natural letter that you're writing. I mean, Times New Roman, good choice. I like I just like the way it came out, the way you made it fit. Definitely don't have the arms on the inside. Looks better this way, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, good choice on that. The end, the descender on the Y, definitely without having that intersection, I think makes it a really unique letter. So that's nice.
All right, sweet.
Okay. It's looking pretty good.
Is that like all the ingredients?
Okay, so let's see. Belinda or Daniel, do you guys have your things pulled up?
I haven't. I don't have anything for the final yet. I just have my thumbnails still.
Have you done any more of them, or did we looked at them before, right?
Yes, we did.
Okay. You want to look at them again?
No,
No.
I'm
Okay.
good. I think I
Okay.
know what I'm doing.
Okay. Daniel.
I could pull mine up.
Okay.
Just give me a moment. I was really messing with it at first today, so I don't have like the final thing.
It's fine.
Just put this down here for now. Is it showing my screen yet?
It sure is.
Okay. So I have the uppercase version of my letter so far. And I went ahead and like tested it, like trying to fit it into the alphabet. I think it looks right. I'm not sure. I was trying to mess around with it at first, like the spacing was wrong. And then it's been a process trying to figure out Photoshop.
Oh yeah, it's tricky to get the final done just to get all the details and have it look good. So this is a combination of which two letters?
L and a V.
L and a V.
It's also Times New Roman.
Ah, okay. We like Times New Roman. Okay. L and a V. Okay, I was thinking possibly it was the L and the K. Okay.
Yeah, it could be that.
It could either one. Okay. So, what are your thoughts on the lowercase one?
The lowercase one, it's in the process really. Like I'm still trying to figure out like if I like how it's gonna turn out. I might not even do this one. It's really just more of trying to figure out what I can really do with Photoshop. I'm trying to challenge myself to do like my favorite one, but it just keeps coming out wrong.
Okay. I have to say, trying to use Photoshop to do the figuring, or any program to do your actual thinking does get difficult because then you get tied up in how to do it.
Yeah.
So it's almost better to go back to just tracing the letters and move it around with pencil, and then figure out exactly. Then when you know what you want to do, then figure it out. Okay, interesting. So with the V, so what were your decisions? I'm interested in, so the V, the stroke of the V is not coming right from the corner of the L, where the L, the bottom stroke and the vertical and the horizontal stroke come in, sort of
Yeah.
like a K. I mean, talk about why'd you move it off that intersection?
So, I kind of wish I had the original document pulled up, but when I did have this part of the V slightly more to the left connecting with this corner, this top half ended up hitting the letter, which just seemed unnatural to me.
Okay, well, that's good. That's a good choice. I hadn't thought about that. You're right, because it's almost coming back with the serif there. It's almost coming back. It would come back and hit the stroke of the vertical stroke of the L. Okay.
Yeah, and I didn't want to try and curve it because then it would just really be changing like the font in general.
Okay. So did you have other letters, other thumbnails you were still thinking about as far as selecting for the final?
Yeah, I can actually pull those up.
You can pull those up.
Mm. Do you see the thumbnails?
Not yet.
Yeah, I think it's only shared to Photoshop.
We're just looking at your Photoshop screen again. So just click on your thumbnails. If you are looking at it, then we should see it. So we're still seeing Photoshop.
You might need to stop sharing and share again so you can pick the right screen too.
True. Try that. And then hit share again. Yeah, there we go. Ah,
Okay, so I was trying to do the Z with the G.
oh, that's right. Okay.
My issue with it is the lasso tool that I've been using. When it comes to like getting this bottom half of the G, it's just extremely difficult because of the loop.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to lasso parts of a letter.
Yeah.
Could I make a suggestion?
Sure.
Yeah.
What if instead of, because you have kind of like it looks like the number 3 going on here and then it connects. So I'm assuming you're trying to make like a straight and then come down and then swirl around the bottom. But what if instead you came straight down with the Z so that the Z became the loop and then you kind of, so it makes a fluid motion. So you go from top left start across the top to the right, diagonally down left, and that becomes the curve, and then you loop back down to the right, come back up and connect the loop to the straight, like in the middle intersection there, so it feels more fluid. And maybe even the lasso tool would kind of help you with that instead of like trying to come around to the right, making like a hoop, maybe you could do it in one fluid motion and maybe it would feel easier that way, question mark.
Possibly. Yeah. I like that idea. That way you're creating sort of a loop without having that little skinny part. The stroke of the Z slanting down would just become the loop.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could see that.
I don't know if it would help you anymore. I just figured I'd throw that out there.
Before I'd figure out how to solve that problem in Photoshop, and I'm going to show Illustrator a way to solve that if you want to switch to Illustrator, you definitely want to play around by hand first to solve that problem, whether you like it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Z and the G a little. The L and the V. Is this the thumbnail you did? The L and the V, both on the top row of thumbnails, the first one and the last one.
Yeah, I think this was just more of like a tracing error. It just ended up being a lot more slanted than it really is.
Right. Would the lowercase look like the very first thumbnail on that line?
Yeah, it would look pretty similar.
Okay. I mean, that's a good idea. Okay. I have to say the Z and the G, both uppercase and lowercase, are good ideas too. So either one. Okay.
And I know that we were talking about it earlier with Photoshop.
Yeah.
But on the layer, Daniel,
Yeah.
you're going to see something in the bottom right corner of things that you're wanting to edit. And it's going to look like a page with a little block taken out of it. And you're going to want to click on that. And then it's going to be able to allow you. You're going to have to select something on that. So we can talk about that later.
Yeah.
That's fine. And one thing I haven't done is shared you guys with phone numbers. Also, you can call each other. Or do you guys have each other's emails? Do you guys see each other's emails addresses when I email y'all?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I've
I
never.
think
So you can always email each other and ask questions, or me, certainly. Okay. I'm going to show you, and again, so you can do it in whatever program you want, but I'm going to show you how I did this in Illustrator. So I'm going to take over the screen and show y'all. And again, you don't have to do it like this, but it is just one way to do it. And I'll show you. The thing about all these software programs, which is good and bad, is that hopefully it's going to show you my Illustrator screen. Oops, let's see what happened. Can you guys see my Illustrator screen?
Not yet.
Not yet?
not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me see. And my mouse is not working, so that's not very helpful. Here we go. Here we go. Let me go back. How about now? No?
Mm-mm.
No.
No? Interesting.
Oh, there it is.
Is it back? Should be up.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what just happened there. I apologize if I just kicked it out,
know
but
what?
it's not showing anymore.
Interesting. That is.
Now, the other side.
Oh yeah, Nick, you might have taken us over accidentally. Let me try again.
I'm sorry about that. I really
No,
am.
that is okay. No, we are trying stuff. Let's try it again here. How about now? Can you guys see my Illustrator screen?
It might be coming up. It's not there yet.
You know what? I think somehow, Nick, you're still scrolling the screen.
Nope, there it is. I see yours.
Yep,
You're
I
mine?
see it.
Okay. So you see it? Okay.
Mhm.
Weird. My mouse is not working. Now it is. Okay, there it is. Okay, so can everyone see the Illustrator screen?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in Illustrator, what I was doing is, let me go up a little bit. So first, I just went on tracing paper and I was fiddling around and I scanned. I did a lot of more thumbnails than this, but I was playing with the double A in capitals. And one of my thumbnails, which is sticking off of here, was this one. Right here. So what I did was I just scanned, I took a picture of it with my phone. I turned it, it was a JPEG. And so I just had that as a file and I made that layer 1. So this is layer 1. You can't see it now, you can. So that I took my thumbnails and actually made it a layer. Okay. And I think that is, and then I, on the layer, I decreased the opacity. So I made the opacity so it'd be slightly less dark. So then I made a second layer. And with that is I started to add some guides. And you could certainly add I should have added the X height of the guide. That certainly would have been another good guide to add. I could have easily added the decenter line. So we could have added all the guides there, but I put one guide vertically and then 2 guides horizontally. I put another guide up here just so I would see, obviously I was dealing with the capital letter at that point, to see the baseline and to see the cap height there. So then I locked both those layers so that I didn't mess them up. Then I created a third layer, and on this layer, is the layer, oops, that I drew on. It'll let me do it. Did all my designing on. So I picked in this letter, I picked, let's see if it shows my type selection. To show Garamond. So over here, I picked Garamond as my letter. So what I did was, here's my thumbnail over here and my drawing on top of it. And I just typed a regular old Garamond capital A right there. Okay. Then I use the pen tool, and this is slightly, I think, easier than the lasso tool, although people do it in Photoshop all the time. So then what I do is I'm using the pen tool to trace the parts of this letter and then slide them over my thumbnail where I want it to. So in this case, here's the try I already did, but it's basically just two different parts. I traced this part like this, slid it over there, and this part, and they're just on top of each other. That's really all I did. So on the technique to do this, I'm just using the pen tool. So I'm going to switch the pen tool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here just to make it a little better or bigger. So I'm going to trace the parts of the letter I want with the pen tool. Sorry, pick the wrong one. Pick the pen tool, not the curve tool. Just pick the pen tool, and then you can zoom in as close as you want. I'm going to try to do it this close. So you can see I'm going to try to trace this part first. So you just pick a spot and then trace the letter as you want. I'm not going to stop there. Oh yeah, I am going to stop here, sorry. So then there is the letter I want. Okay, there's the part of without the, it doesn't have the counter in it. So then I'm going to get out of the pen tool and switch over to my selection tool. So then I have the square around it, and then hopefully this will work. Then you can see, oops, nope, that's the wrong one. Let me go backwards. It should just slide on over. Then I'm going to just slide that over, and that's going to be the first part of the letter. Okay, so that is this that I've already done over there. Then I'm going to get out of this, go back into the new pen tool again, and this is where I cut out the counter, made another shape, but it's filled in black. Where's my, there we go. I'm going to make it white. So there's the counter. And then again, I'm going to just slide that on over. Hopefully that I'm not messing it up. I am messing it up. Oops. Oops. No, I keep grabbing the wrong one. And you can always go backwards. One more, I think. Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. Yeah, I'm still messing that up. Make sure this is the right one. There we go. Then I'm going to move the counter over there. So you just build the letters that you want by tracing the part. I like tracing big parts and doing a counter, but I could easily draw the crossbar, draw this. Then I just traced this part and moved it over there. Zoom back out. So that's how I like to build a letter. I definitely like having this thumbnail underneath, okay, to put the letters on top. Obviously, it doesn't match exactly. I changed it. I decided to move it over a little bit. As you can see, here's another part. So all this stuff you can delete. I would have a document, build your two final letters, And then I like putting the alphabet on the same page. So you can see here it is. I've added the alphabet up here. I typed the A separate. Then I just made a copy of my final letter, made it smaller, moved it up here, and then started a new set of letters for the rest of the alphabet. I didn't try to have the A and the B, C, D, E all in one type box. The A is by itself, this is by itself, and the B, C, D, and C, and I put 2 guidelines there to keep it straight. And then I could keep going, put the whole alphabet in there. Questions on that? That is how I would build the letter in Illustrator. Anyone, who else did anyone else try it in Illustrator?
I did.
Nick, any other thoughts? Did you did things differently than that? There's 100 ways to do it.
I didn't trace it. I took the letters. I actually had to do tutorials for one of my other classes. So one of them was adding type. So what I did was I turned the letter into like a vector piece, and then I deleted the anchor points on the pieces I wanted to get rid of, or I shifted entire sections of anchor points. So like the H, the crossbar in the H was actually a lot higher, and I brought the right side of the H closer. So like that wasn't how you say a regulation size Times New Roman H. It was a lot shorter and the cross was higher. But I did that, like I tightened in the anchor points.
And that's another way to do it. And that is fine. Like I said, in each of these programs, there's a lot of different ways to do it. So sure, that would be another way to do it. And that's probably a more exact way to do it than the way I'm doing it. I'm trying to pick the simplest way to do this. Anyone else tried in Illustrator? Okay, I'm gonna get out of this for a second. I think we're back.
Looks good.
There we go. Okay, so you can do it however you want, and I have to say, there's nothing wrong with using tutorials. I found some pretty good tutorials, and I don't know. One of the things that this is my first semester teaching at Rowan Community College. I don't know if they have a library of Illustrator tutorials. When you guys you guys are taking the computer class right now, do they have a library of tutorials that they like?
As far as Adobe?
You know, like a person on YouTube, like that they follow or anything like that. Like I like Deke McClellan. I don't know if you guys like him, or Tony Hammer. Anyway, those guys, if you go to their YouTube, there's a bunch of YouTube videos, and literally you can type in, Illustrator, how to do this, Photoshop, how to do that. And so that's a great way to answer questions. It used to be that was difficult. Now it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, I didn't know. So you guys, you don't, I need to ask Ryland if he has a library of Illustrator videos that he likes or recommends. I haven't heard that he does. Okay, so with that, the thumbnails, everyone should turn those in tonight, which I think is the deadline. Is it not?
I think you kicked it to Friday.
Did I kick it to Friday? Okay. I'm looking at my deadline. So the thumbnails are due Friday and the final is due Sunday. Is that what I wrote?
Thumbnails today, measuring exercise today, final letter due Friday.
Friday, sorry. Okay, so we're trying to do the thumbnails, and you guys got the thumbnails. So now we're trying to do the final letter by Friday. Questions on that? And like I mentioned, it's okay to put the alphabet, either have your 2 uppercase and lowercase on a separate file and then have it in the alphabet, uppercase and lowercase, in a separate document, or they can all be together. Either one is fine with me. Either one. And it is okay to do it by hand. Can draw, print the letters out the size you want and trace them and draw them with your micro pens or Sharpies or Micron pens, either one. So the letters certainly can be done by hand as well. Anyone having trouble with that measuring exercise? I was doing a couple of them. They're pretty straightforward.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
good.
I am not a good math person. So once I realize, you just gotta sort of, I have to make a little rule for myself and then just go along and follow that rule. Okay. Questions. And so on the vocabulary, the vocabulary, the last one we did, you don't have to make that a crossword puzzle or do all the other things. You just have to turn in the PDF of how you've drawn. You actually have to draw the different parts of the type anatomy on the thumbnail sheet. So you don't have to do the extra thing. I'm sorry, I didn't say that.
Wait, excuse me. What?
So on this last vocabulary one that we had, the vocabulary number 2, it actually has all the boxes, and then it says, I want you to draw an example of an arm, draw a crossbar. So then just take a picture of this and upload that in the vocabulary. Don't do the crossword puzzle or other things.
Oh, okay.
You mean that last page that says vocabulary choice board?
Correct.
Right, okay.
Yes. Don't do the choice board. Just do the actual attributes, the definition, the drawings of the actual parts.
And I submitted a Quizlet along with it, more for my sake, so that like I could have a visual and a textual definition.
And that's fine.
Yeah.
No points off for doing that. Okay. Questions.
So, when making the final, do we have to have like a name for our letter?
Yes. So you have to have you're supposed to have a sound, a name, a sound. I don't think it has to have a name. It has to have a sound, right? What does your letter sound like, or is it called? You know what? Yeah, name for it. Yes.
Okay.
Trying to come up with something that shows what the letter, sounds like, and obviously where it falls in the alphabet.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
we can turn in like 2 separate, like for example, the thing I showed with my uppercase today. I could submit that page as one and then the lowercase as another file.
I'd like to have the 2 finals, the uppercase and lowercase, together in one file. And
Okay.
then if you want to have it separate, have it in the alphabets, both uppercase and lowercase, in another file. So the uppercase and lowercase should be together in a file, yes.
And then like this is a really great example of what we could do for like the 27th letter that's on assignment 3. But do we also have to have like the arrows and the paths of like, oh, this is like the path you have to follow to draw it?
No.
Okay.
No. I don't think so. But no, definitely not. Now, some of you guys did that. I know Nick mentioned that. I know you guys, several of you, at least 2 of you, mentioned drawing it out to make it seem to practice handwriting, to do the handwriting. I recommend saving those. Don't get rid of that sketchbook or wherever you have. And you could include those if you did some of the handwriting in your final, just as a sketch. You don't have to change it digitally or anything like that. That would be fine. If that's what is that what you mean?
No.
No. Okay.
That's not necessarily what I was talking about. It's just like the example picture that's on Blackboard.
Yeah.
There's like small arrows and they're just showing like, oh, follow this path and whatnot when drawing it.
He's talking about the picture of this SIF.
Yeah. The one
like
that,
the PS.
yeah.
Huh. Okay. I will take your word for it. I don't think you need those arrows. I have to go back. Is that in the example on the assignment?
Yeah. I was just saying like, that's a really nice example. That's probably the peak of what we could do. That's
Okay.
kind of, but I was just asking if we needed stuff like that.
You don't have to have that now. I don't think so. I'm not quite 100% sure. I'll have to go back and look on Blackboard. I turned Blackboard off because it was slowing down my Illustrator so much. So I can't go look at that right now. Or I could, but I have to relaunch it. Other questions? Questions. Okay. So obviously this is our last class meeting this week. I will stay on here for 15 more minutes, and then I'll be back on my office hours at 1:30 if you have other questions and want to come on and ask me. And the final is due Friday. Anyone think they have trouble getting that final done by Friday? Okay. With that questions, you guys can fade off. And next week, our normal class where we'll go over our next chapter and vocabulary and stuff like that will be on Monday, like normal.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, and on the assignment, it says that it has to be an 8x8 artboard or a 8x10 artboard. Do you
Correct.
want us to like print out our things, or should we just like make a digital version?
Just digital. Yep.
Okay.
Just digital. Yep. It's good in the file, whatever your file you're doing it in. Let's say you're doing in Photoshop, to have your board be 8x8 or 8x10.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not printing them out this time, so it
All right.
doesn't matter. If you're going to print it for your portfolio, although most of your portfolios are going to be digital anyway, so really, it's not as important since we're not printing it out. Okay, good questions. Okay, I will see y'all Monday.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye. I'm staying on here.
All right.
So. Hmm.